Welcome back, everybody, to another powerful episode of the Profits for Sanity Podcast. I'm your host, Dominic Caminata, CEO of Grosso University, the industry-leading training and consulting group. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome a 25-year veteran in the world of media and marketing, and her name is Suzie Dreiling. Suzie is the managing partner of Ad Fusion, which is a dynamic agency known for delivering customized, AI-driven media strategies that fuse creativity with real results. Suzie's deep background in radio and TV, coupled with her firm's data-backed approach to brand positioning, makes her one of the most strategic voices in advertising today, and someone who can truly move the needle for business owners and profitability. Suzie, I'm absolutely honored to have you on the show here today. You want to tell everyone where you're from?
I'm from Kansas City.
Kansas City. How was the flight to get here to Madison, Wisconsin?
It was difficult to get here from Madison to Madison. I will say that, but I got here. I
wanted you to share that because just your commitment to sharing your wisdom with our audience is something we greatly appreciate. We know that Madison's not a hub city. It's not easy to fly into.
But I was excited to come. New places.
We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
So for those watching this podcast, I know they're going to learn a lot about how to optimize and take advantage of the benefits of TV and radio, and I'm excited to sink into the subject matter. But can you just kind of go back to the beginning, like your origin? How did you enter this world of TV and radio? Obviously, you've been at this for a long time now. And I guess, what was your inspiration for wanting to go in and be like, I'm going to start an ad agency here, Ad Fusion, that's really going to change the game for home improvement companies?
So I started in radio. I got into radio about 25 years ago and sold radio for 23 years, I think it is. My mom was the same. She sold radio and TV.
Yeah.
Kind of followed in her footsteps, and I loved it.
How long did your mom do that for?
She did it for, 30 some years, and she ran TV, radio, billboards, but she ended up running TV stations around the country.
Wow. So it's definitely a multi-generational.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I kind of I stayed in the radio world. And loved every minute of it. And when I got out of radio, I went to work for an agency and kind of got my feet wet in there, and then left there, and then started a agency and with a partner, and focused on home improvement, and that's kind of where we are today. And it's we're still fairly new, not even a year, and it's taken off, and we've just seen some really good results with our clients, and done a really good job so far.
What specifically drew you to the home improvement industry? So what did you see specifically in this industry is like, I really want to focus a lot of my energy to helping contractors in this business?
My partner is a home improvement contractor, and he has a business, and that was kind of our focus, and he kind of led us into that avenue. And it has so well, and that's kind of led us into this arena.
So that's amazing, though. Like literally from infancy, you've been around TV and radio and all. It's like been a part of your life, your whole life.
Yes.
So to say that you're new to the business is really doing an injustice and a disservice to your expertise. Obviously, this is a new venture that you're starting up, but you're bringing with you literally decades of experience, not just from you, but literally your whole family and your upbringing has been exposed to this.
Right.
So learned a lot. Now, I'm just curious, TV from 25 years ago, radio from 25 years ago, what are some of the things you see that have changed? Because I'm sure you hear this myth all the time. People think, TV and radio are not as effective as they once were.
Yes, we hear that all the time. Satellite radio is going to make it go away. We've heard it a million times. Mm-hmm. Radio is still extremely strong. People are still listening to it every day in the car, every day at home. They're still watching TV all the time. What's crazy is if you think about TV and radio from 25 years ago, the only thing that's changed is that we work with it. Mm-hmm. You're still hearing it the same.
Yes.
The ads are still coming over. You're still, still listening to the commercials the same. So not a lot has changed to the actual consumer, but the way we're working with it has. Radio and TV are extremely effective to an advertiser and to the consumer.
Right.
And it should be in everyone's marketing plan, period.
Right.
It shouldn't be overlooked at all.
No, I was telling you before we got on this episode here that I have clients that were kind of working their way into TV and radio, and they were uncertain as to what type of results they can have. And one client in particular, that they started going all in on TV and radio, they grew from 6 million to 16 million. Now, I know that that's not the results that everyone can bank on, but just to show, like, this person was also skeptical, but then they took the initiative where they got the film crews to come out, like, I think it was like every 2 months, these film crews came out and they had like 5 or 6 things they had to get off the list, things they wanted to film, where the owner's showing their face, and this owner's a pretty handsome individual, so it works out in his favor.
It helps.
But anyway, like, his business took off like a rocket ship now. Now he's open to multiple territories and stuff like that. But I know there's many examples. I used to do consulting with New South Windows, and they had a $200 million window company they built exclusively on TV. That's the only marketing source they had. So now they're starting to branch off into other marketing avenues and differentiating a little bit. But literally a $200 million powerhouse machine of a window company exclusively on TV. So if you have a contractor that you meet for the first time and they're like, I just don't think TV is going to give me the ROI. It's really expensive and I feel like I'm throwing money at a bottomless pit. So how would you address that concern?
Well, I think those are all valid concerns. I mean, I think in the beginning...
And in some cases, they're right, depending on who they're working with.
Sure, absolutely. And I think part of the problem, I think a lot of times it's who you worked with, the reps that you have called on you. I think one of the things I've seen being on this side of the table now, as opposed to a rep, that reps can make or break what has happened to you in the past. So if you don't have a good rep that you're working with, if you've been told the wrong things, if what you used and it didn't work and it was a one and done, it's just that you can't work like that. It's not a one and type of thing. It's a program. It's a term commitment. You have to be willing to invest in this. You're not going to see results right away. Some people do, and that's amazing if they do. But you're investing in your business here. And so you have to be willing to make that commitment to marketing, just like you made the commitment to starting this business. And you will see the results if you make the commitment to the marketing. And it's very important. But the people that you have, when you, just like starting the business, you have to choose the right people to work with. And so I've seen, it's unfortunate that sometimes strong relationships can ruin the marketing down the road. I'm
pretty sure every single company watching this has a horror story from a marketing agency that overpromised, under-delivered, misled them.
Don't follow through,
I definitely agree with you on the long-term play. And going back to that company in Chicago that I was talking about, they understood ahead of time. They had some good guidance in the beginning. This is a long-term play. They're not going to see an instant ROI, but when it does hit, it could hit massively. First time it hit was actually January of 2024. They had a company-wide goal of 800,000 in that month. Any guesses what they ended the month at? They ended the month at 1.8 million.
Wow.
Because what ended up happening is the floodgates of TV finally opened, and it was just like they had so many leads they didn't know what to do with them, and their salespeople were not used to running these quality inbound media-driven leads. They're used to working on more nebulous leads and like ultra competitive. So then their salespeople were conditioned and equipped to go in there and absolutely crush it. So they actually almost tripled their dang goal. It was insane to see all that came together, what it did.
And as long as you have the salespeople to handle those, I mean, it's a beautiful.
They were heaven, and ever since then, I mean, that set a new standard. So then they hit 1.8 million in a month, and now it's like, okay, well, we can't do less than that. And literally, they've been sustaining that performance and growing. Now their next goal is 3 million a month. But TV really was that big breakthrough that helped them, hit that or push through that plateau.
And I think it's great when you start on TV and you foundation and you're hitting those goals. I think it's great to look at other avenues of advertising and other mediums. I think that's really important. I think I told you earlier there was a client that I used to have on radio that was only radio. That was their map every year. They decided they wanted something different and go away from radio completely, and they went to strictly digital. They lost completely. They had the worst year. They they ever had. You can't do that. You can't lose your foundation, go away from your foundation completely and go to a totally new medium without having your foundation. You stick with, don't lose what you're doing. Try different things, but always have your foundation too, because that foundation is going to help with that new medium.
So if I'm a contractor and I got some TV and radio marketing agency that is talking to me and they're making it sound real good, right? They're really good at selling the sizzle. Whether or not they actually deliver on the promise is one thing. What would be your advice, like the types of questions they should be asking this marketing agency, or maybe the types of case studies they should be asking for? Like, what would a contractor likely do in that situation to make sure that this company is the real deal, to make sure they're actually talking with somebody that is truly going to serve them the right way?
Well, it depends. Like, as far as selling you this book of goods, all this fluff.
It's basically all your wildest dreams are going to come true. That's basically what
you can't tell them. You can't promise that. I mean, whenever I know a client, I'm not going to promise them they're going to get all these leads. I'm going to say I'm going to give you my best plan to get you to where you need to be. But you have to give me a commitment of 3 to 6 months or whatever it is. These are the radio stations or TV stations we're going to use. But you have to factor in their budget, how you're going to plan it out, what are they going there, and the follow-ups. Are you going to have regular calls with them, or are they just going to place it and be gone? How are they doing your commercial? How are they? Are you using an endorser? Are you out? What are they doing? Are they a jingle? Or what are all these things? And what is it going to cost you? And what are there hidden fees? There's so many things to go into it. These all should be thought up front, before you even get to that point. They can sell you everything they want, but how is it going to play out in the beginning? So I think all those things need to be discussed up front.
Right.
Before you even get to the promises and the...
Yeah, because as I've discussed with you personally, I mean, I've had one marketing agency after the other. With me personally in my business, they make all these promises and say all these amazing things are going to happen. And you're going to have so many leads. I love when they ask, like, how many leads would be too much for you? I'm like, oh, that would be a great problem. I hope I have that problem. And then we move forward and nothing happens. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, how can you make all these promises and then literally nothing happens, right? I could have done better myself, right? And have done better myself. There's some of those ways where you see maybe other marketing agencies or TV and radio companies where they kind of they oversell and underdeliver. Maybe they cut corners, whether it be like cookie cutter type ads, they don't customize or personalize it. What are some things that you find where it doesn't end up really being effective for the company, for the contractor?
The biggest thing I see is the wrong stations, or the way they, and I don't ever want to put down someone's work, but it's usually the wrong mix of radio stations. You're not going after the right consumer. You're not targeting the right consumer, especially for home improvement, because I think it's a different niche. A lot of times, and no offense to the advertiser, but a lot of advertiser will think their consumer is a certain person and be that person, but to get to that person is a different way. So, my person is a male, but how does the male get there? Sometimes it's the female. You have to get to that person by the female. You know what I'm saying? So we need to find the female first, the one that's going to get her husband to make that call, or she has to make the call, and then to get in the home, it's going to be to sell to husband. You know what I'm saying? So we have to then go to the female first, and then the salespeople will get into the home and sell the male. And so where the advertiser or the client thinks that it's the male, it is. But we got to get to the woman first.
Exactly.
To make the call.
So being creative on how you bridge that gap to get to your ideal target audience. Correct.
So sometimes it might not be a sports station that I need to be on. It might need to be on a female-driven station, so the woman can call and then bringing in the salesperson into the home, and it's selling it to the husband.
Do you see that in a common issue with all forms of marketing, where people just are not speaking to their target audience correctly?
Sometimes.
They really just truly haven't identified who their target market really is. Because marketing's scary, right? I mean, you can literally, this company's spending 30-40% cost of marketing. It's throwing hemorrhaging money like crazy. And what percentage of that is truly speaking to like your target audience?
I think people don't realize really who makes the decisions. I think they do, but in reality, it's not really that person. I think we like to think like perception, but it isn't.
Right. No, I agree. When you founded AdFusion, what were some of the unique service offerings and unique ways that you wanted to kind of change the game when it came to being more strategic about how we advertise on TV and radio?
So really one of the benefits that Chad and I discussed was because I come from the radio side, my negotiation tactics were a little different. So I know how to negotiate from the radio side. So I am used to with agencies. So I know the ins and outs. So I know when a radio station can or can't do something, or I know when a TV station can or can't do something. So I have that insight knowledge. I know where spots can and can't run. I know when they're telling me they can do something or can't do something when they can. So there's a lot of things that a typical agency person might not have, knowledge they don't have, that I do because of 20 some years of experience on the other side of it. So when I'm going in and I'm negotiating with a TV station, I have the upper hand because I'm like, I know you can do that, or I know you can open up that date.
Do you see like where a lot of situations where the owner of that company or whoever's in charge of their marketing department is trying to do those negotiations themselves versus having someone like yourself kind of represent them?
They're getting screwed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They don't know what can be done, how flexible they truly are.
So when I'm looking at, in many cases, I will have negotiated, I will say, let me go in and let me see what I can do compared to what you're buying now or what you're paying now. Night and day. Night and day. And so it's like the loan. I haven't even negotiated yet. I'm just getting rates. But going in as an agency and as a former rep, look at what I was able to do and look at what you're paying currently.
You know behind the scenes, like what's really going on.
Right. Now let me go and negotiate with them and see how much more I can get done.
Wow.
And so just that knowledge, just having the proper terminology, it's ingrained in reps to go after direct clients because you make more money, period. You get a higher commission as a rep because there's no agency. It's a direct client. That's it. But if an agency's there, it's already less commission to the rep because they get it. There's a commission knockdown. Already money. So it's not as beneficial for a rep to go after agency dollars. So you're already at a disadvantage. But as a direct client, they're thinking, they're seeing dollar signs. Oh, let me up that. So already a disadvantage.
So this podcast is, of course, called Profits for Sanity. So, of course, every dollar you overpay for TV and radio and stuff like that is money out of your bottom line. If you were to guess, and it's hard to put an exact percentage on it, but what percentage would you say that companies are overpaying for TV and radio versus what they should be paying because they don't know the language, they don't know how to negotiate, or maybe they don't negotiate at all because they're sold a book of goods and all these promises like, I'm just going to go ahead and just sign up. And like when you're negotiating, or another way to ask this is like, what have you seen being the most extreme, like change in terms of the discount or the amount of money you're able to save somebody by going in and having those negotiations? I
would say anywhere between, on the low end, 15 and on the high end, 25%.
So there's companies right now, as far as you can tell, paying 15 to 25% too much for their TV and radio, that if they had someone like yourself simply that knew the game, obviously lived it for a long time, they could speak the language and kind of talk some sense into these companies, or at least get them in a more realistic playing field there, that they could obviously, how much more marketing can you do now when you're saving that much money, right? When you're saving 25% on your ad spend there, that allows you to be more aggressive, or maybe reinvest that into other channels if you want to. So it's just crazy to think about. So
and companies don't have time, or the company doesn't have to worry about that. They have too many other things. They're running a company. So to worry about their marketing or negotiating or this or that, that's just another headache for them. And then, oh my God, am I being taken advantage of? Am I, are my spots running the correct way? They don't have time to manage all of that.
So how are you leveraging AI in terms of making more data-driven decisions in terms of how you're customizing these ads and how you're getting the maximum return on investment in radio.
So the beauty of AI for me is when I have a new client and I go into the market and look at how it's laid out, I'll review the TV and radio stations. I'll look at the clients, and I then will kind of review the stations I think are a fit. And then I'll go into my AI system and say, okay, here's my target consumer, put in all the information and say, what stations do you recommend? And then I'll match it up with what I had chosen. And then usually 9 times out of the 10, I'm right.
Yeah.
And then make sure that
like my wife.
Exactly. Well, we usually are. Women are usually right. Yeah. So sure that it's on par for the right stations that I'm picking for that client.
And the 10% that I'm right, I'm still wrong, by the way. I'll never admit that publicly. I'll just smile behind the scenes where nobody can see or hear me. But so, this is already pretty enlightening. For companies watching this to think you may be overspending significantly on your TV and your radio, or if you're deciding to go into this, make sure you have someone like Suzie to represent you, because you will be taken advantage of. It's their incentive to make as much money on you as possible. And as much as we love to believe that everyone's forthcoming and honest, right. It really is about money. And if you don't know how to speak the language and have those negotiations because you're busy running your business and this is not your job, right. You're more than likely going to be overpaying. I think that's a really, really powerful message there.
And I think a lot of times you're a customer to the radio station. You remember. Yeah. So you should be getting a lot of benefits from the radio station. And there are a lot of perks that come from being a client to the radio station. Right. And a lot of times as a direct client, you don't get those perks because you're not speaking up, because you don't know. Right. And so, but again, as a former rep and agency, you know all of those tricks and stuff that come with it. So there's a lot of things that you get from having an agency or having a former radio rep or TV rep, whatever it is, that can give you those things.
Yeah, let's sink into that a little bit. So if I'm investing fill in the blank money with this TV or radio station, what are some of those creative things that I can negotiate into, like value added services or TV spots, or maybe I can get on like a news station or something like that? What are some creative things that you've seen companies be able to do that can kind of enhance their return on investment even more? So,
and I'm not saying this is all, but there's some of the things that can enhance and can be added value to your buy. Yeah. So for TV, let's say maybe there's a new spotlight and they want to spotlight your company. Yeah. That might be something that can come out and do a little feature on your company. Mm-hmm. On radio, if they might want to do a radio remote at your location, that's a 2-hour free that they're just on location at your place of business. Spots, they're just going to give you a bank of free spots that you can use whenever you want. Sometimes it's, let's say you want to bring your, to a game. They have tickets to and you want to use that. It's a giveaway. Maybe you have a giveaway that you want to give to, you want people to come in your business and sign up to, whatever it is, and it's a giveaway to a football game or something like that. Yeah. They can give you those tickets. There's so many different ways that they can integrate to help you beyond just over-the-air commercials.
That's really powerful, because if someone's on the news getting interviewed as like the trusted expert in that particular service or that particular part of the industry, that alone, its ability to build trust with audience. Mm-hmm. Like, you are known as like the Bob Vila in your territory for what it is that you do. And I see a lot of companies that are thriving in this industry now. You see them on the news all the time, and they're always getting interviewed, and it looks really impressive. And it definitely, for me, it'd be like, that's the type of person that I would want to call to get this work done. Right. So I think that's really valuable. So if you're not negotiating those things in with your TV and radio, that's stuff you definitely got to look into. You can get those cherry on top value-added services offered to you if you know what questions to ask and how to do it. And again, that's where Suzie really would step in and shine and be able to how to negotiate that stuff into the deal.
Right. Don't be afraid to ask. I'm not afraid to ask.
The answer's always no if you don't ask.
And they can tell me no. I don't mind. I have the moon, and they can tell me no. Right. But you got to try.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised at what you will get in return. Mm-hmm. But always aim high, because even if you they find a happy medium in the negotiation, you're still getting a lot more than you would have if you didn't start that.
I think the last time I had a client, I asked all TV stations for something, and 2 of them gave me to them and 1 didn't. And then I had to go back and ask for something else. And the same one that didn't give me the one said no again. I'm like, you're the only one that hasn't given me anything. I really need something from you. I mean, I'm not afraid to go and be like, I need something from you.
Yeah.
You know?
That's awesome. Okay. Now, one thing you mentioned earlier in this conversation is a jingle.
Yes.
Now, this is something that I almost never see from companies that I work with, is having a catchy jingle.
Yes.
So why do you feel that a jingle is so important? And I guess, some people may think it's silly or kind of goofy, but having that jingle that really kind of sticks in their mind, and they just can't get it out of their head. Why do you feel like long term, like that could be such a valuable thing to create?
Well, I think jingles aren't going to be for everybody.
Yeah.
So I think it's important if it's...
I want a jingle.
I think you should have a jingle. Yeah. I love jingles for the right companies. Yeah. Think about jingles that we grew up with that are still in our heads today. It's crazy. Yeah. So they do stick with you. Mm-hmm. I think they are important if you are in this for the long haul and you are investing in marketing for the long haul and you have the budgets to do that because they absolutely do work. And if you can get a jingle, we have a great jingle company. If you can get a jingle company that does them right, I think they're extremely powerful.
Yeah. So do you have an example of a company that created a jingle? I don't know if it's still stuck in your head, but like an example of a jingle that really worked well, that's really powerful, that...
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Yeah. You don't have to sing it at all.
You're going to put me on the spot.
It's like an example of kind of what does a really well-crafted jingle look like? What does it sound like? Or what are some recommendations if someone's like beginning the process of putting a jingle together? And obviously the jingle company would walk them through step by step kind of how to do it.
The jingle company we work with is amazing. Yeah. They will set up a call with you and they will go through like your entire company and how it all works. And then they will create the jingle. I'm in the process of one right now. He has me on all the emails of the steps. And it's crazy how it goes from like a little blurb to like the beginning of the jingle to the sing out to the full out and they're going back and forth now he didn't like this little word here, so they changed it here, and he didn't like the sing out of the way it said you, and now it's coming back. I mean, it's so precise, it's crazy. But when it's all together, it's so amazing how they can bring it this catchy tune.
Yeah, exactly. And then all your radio, your TV, even on your website, like people are getting exposed to this everywhere.
Yeah, and they can make it so like they can do a full 60 to a 30 to a 15, so you can use it in every single thing you do. Mm-hmm. So whether it's your TV, radio, your digital stuff, anything you do, you can have that jingle on.
Nice. So one thing that I see lacking from a lot of companies nowadays, and it's starting to, like a lot of companies are starting to pay more attention to this, is just content creation as a whole. Mm-hmm. So it blows my mind how many companies that I work with that don't have any content at all to speak of, meaning that they don't have any jobs that have been documented, they don't have any installation footage of their crews getting the work done. But then on the other hand, I see a lot of home improvement companies that are thriving, just kicking butt and taking names, where they have their own podcast, they have their own radio talk show, they have their own news channel or their television show. There's this girl here in Wisconsin, Abby Windows. You ever hear of Abby Windows? So they say, I got a guy for this, but her thing, I know a girl for this, and but she's a trusted home improvement expert in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and she has her own radio talk show, and it's all about what to look for, best practices, but it's all about home improvement.
Okay.
And it's an absolute lead generation machine, and from what I've been hearing for companies that have like their own podcast or their own radio talk show or TV show or whatever it is, when they get calls off of those shows, the closing rate is off the charts because the level of trust they have built with their audience is second to none. I mean, you go into the house, it's almost like in a barrel. It's like laydowns because these people like are already wanting to work with you. But can you speak to just like, okay, what are some ways they can at least get starting to document jobs, starting to create content? And what do you see as being the most valuable types of content that companies should start capturing early on?
I think it starts with your employees. I think your employees have to be engaged and wanting to film that content. Right. And it doesn't take a lot. I mean, it's doing your phone a little bit and then putting that compilation stuff in somewhere that they can build some stuff. I mean, I think we were talking about how just raw, authentic videos are what sells days. I mean, social influencers anymore are what's selling products more than anybody. And I think it's really powerful if you have all that raw footage and you can create here and there, and then be able to create those commercials down the road and see the authenticity. I'm trying to say the word, but I can't.
That's okay. Authenticity.
Thank you.
Yeah, there it is.
To show, and it creates trust with the listener. And it's not that hard. So I think you have to build that with your guys or with your workers. Don't you think? I mean, that would be my first thing is you need to be out there filming that.
Well, I'm doing that with my team at Grosso University right now is I'm having our CMO and our head sales trainer and our Spanish sales training director and our COO and myself, like we're all pushing content out there now.
Right.
Because we want people to understand that it's not just Dominic or just one person. We have a whole team of very bright and talented individual ready to serve. Right. And that for me personally has made a big difference. But what's interesting about where Grosso University is at is we've morphed really into a content creation company. We spend most of our time like in front of the camera creating content, whether it's custom sales training. I do a lot of stuff on social media. Like I'm all over social media doing videos. And I've seen this time and time again where I'll put something on social media that's highly produced. It's in the studio, premium audio, 4K video, graphics, B-roll, all this stuff. And maybe 2 people will like it.
It's crazy.
But then I'll do an off-the-cuff selfie video, just speaking to the audience with genuine authenticity. And it'll get like 20 likes and 8 shares, and all of a sudden it like goes viral. Yeah. And it'll get like so many impressions because authenticity is really what matters most.
Agreed.
So that's something to think about, that when you're thinking about getting started in content creation, because I know a lot of companies have their own YouTube channel, it doesn't have to be this overly produced, like super high quality video. Get started, and I see like a lot of roofers where they'll be like doing a roofing inspection, kind of talking the customers through it, just selfie on their phone, and they'll upload that to YouTube, and people stumble upon those things, right?
And maybe it's they're not thinking like content while I'm on the job type of thing, you know, like, oh, let me pull my phone out. You know, we used to be, you shouldn't do that when you're with a girl, or, you know, maybe it needs to be rewired. Like, no, let's do this so that and throw it up somewhere, or whatever it is, or go live when you're in the middle of a project, when you're putting windows in or whatever it is, because it used to be that isn't appropriate, you know? Yeah. And now we're in a generation where phones are everywhere, and
well, people are just such consumers of content nowadays. It's absolutely insane.
Right.
But, you know, so we do a lot of consulting, helping people build their in-home presentation. And then people want nice looking websites and they want good social media ads. Well, that all comes from you having an abundance of content that you can work with. Right. So like, for example, when I'm consulting on people building an in-home presentation for their sales team, like the presentation to show the homeowner at the kitchen table, do you have actual video content of your crews getting the work done that you can embed into that? One of the most powerful things we invested in for our sales team is we had a really nice company story video that we created that could be used on our website, could be used in TV, but also was in our in-home presentation that kind of gave the homeowner a peek behind the curtain, like who's running the show, who can I expect to work with if I choose to hire this business, like behind the scenes and production and operations and all this. And then we also had this very detailed installation video that was narrated by our production manager, where they walked that homeowner through step by step. Here is how, when our crews arrive, how they're going to give the 5-star white glove experience, how they're going to respect your property, how we can get this job done in one day. They get to see the whole thing come to life, and that allows that homeowner to play that movie in their mind of all the wonderful things. But that took us 2 days to capture that content, and it's a video that we used for years and years to sell tens of millions of dollars of home improvements. But it's just getting started. Like, don't overcomplicate it. Just start documenting your installs. Start capturing content from your sites. And then even if you have your design consultants or your sales professionals, like doing inspections and stuff, start documenting, because this is how you give people a place to go learn about you, start getting to know you personally, start building trust. I forget where I heard it, but I've heard someone say like they're going to watch at least 7 different ways or spend, in some cases, hours like learning about you before they reach out to you. Yeah. But it's like at least like 7 different touch points a lot of times before they...
I think we focus so much on perfection that we want, like before we even get it out there, we're trying to fine tune it and make perfect, that sometimes you just need to throw it out there. Yeah. Let people see the real thing.
Yeah, imperfect action, perfection.
Yes.
And then it gets easier and easier. So, like, for example, again, at Grosso University, when I first started doing this, I was not used to talking in front of a camera. It terrified me. As soon as that record light turned on the camera, my brain went numb. Like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't even get a word out edgewise. And now I don't think about it at all. It's not a big deal whatsoever. So as you throw yourself out there and you start recording content, whether you're an owner or an employee or someone in your business starts becoming the face of your company, all of a sudden it gets easier and easier. And then as you get more and more comfortable, you're able to come off as more genuine, authentic, and just be you. Right. But, you know, be the genuine, authentic you. But I always say, like, the way I'd respectfully communicate to a friend. So don't be too raunchy or anything. But that's kind of the way I think about it.
But I definitely think it's going to have to start at the top with the owner, allowing them to be able to go and do that content creation. Yeah. It's okay to do that content creation. You know, I want you guys to go out there and create the content when you're out on a job site.
So I heard someone talking about TV, and this was actually at the Top 500 one year, and they were talking about how there's so much more, there's a lot more strategy to realize in terms of the time of day, what day of the week, you know, and what they were talking about is, you know, instead of having like at 10 a.m. every day, like I'm going to invest my money every single day of the week, dominate the TV on like maybe 2 days of the week, but have more frequency on those 2 days. Can you speak to how you kind of work with clients to develop a strategy to where, you know, you're really trying to maximize the time that they're hearing the ads, the time that they're seeing the commercials, and also the day of the week, how that plays a role into the overall strategy? Sure.
So I do, they're both TV and radio I buy specifically. I buy them a specific way. You have your prime time on radio at 6 a to 7 p Monday through Friday. I don't buy anything else. I don't pay cash for anything else. If I get anything, it's going to be added value. And then I buy specific days, depending on where my budget allows. Yeah. Same with TV. TV is a lot harder. TV is going to cost you more money. And I will buy as many days as I can, but I will start Monday, Tuesday, and go down the line. I typically stay away from Thursday, Friday, if I can't afford it. Yeah. And Fridays, because, you know, people are looking forward to the weekends. They're not necessarily thinking, what do I need to get done? Right. But yes, there are specific times and there are specific days. I like to buy news. I don't necessarily buy the best program because it's hot. It doesn't mean that people are watching it. Same goes for, I mean, I'm buying the #1 TV station. You have people watching everything. Yeah. So if you have people watching, you have people needing something done. So you have a potential buyer, or potential customer. And yes, it's radio. There's particular day parts I want to buy over other day parts. In radio, you want to typically get them when they're in the car, in the mornings, and in the afternoons. Yeah. So on their way to work and on their way home. And sometimes you want that in-office listening, you know, that 10 a to 3 p.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously it's endless in terms of how people can invest their money in this stuff. But when people do get a TV and radio lead, I guess, what has your experience been as to like the quality of that lead compared to something that may be more nebulous or outbound where, you know, people are literally calling you off of the TV or calling you off the radio? Like if someone's that motivated, maybe there's something that caught their eye, something they really like, and they're calling to schedule a meeting with you off the TV. What have you been seeing in terms of just the overall quality of that type of lead? Because I can tell you from my experience, like our sales team was always like begging for the TV leads because these are inbound leads that people are already expressing like, I have an interest for what it is that person is advertising, or there's something that caught their eye. Do you see that as being typically a higher quality of lead versus something that, you know, maybe they stumbled upon it by accident or something?
Like a flyer type of lead. Yeah. I have so far what we have seen, the quality leads. Now, I've had clients say to me,
because ultimately conversion is what matters most, right? You can
Right.
generate all the leads in the world, but if they can't convert, then
Correct.
you're wasting money.
when I've always been told, if you get me a lead, my salespeople can convert them. So
Yep.
the leads have all been really good. Now, of course, you're going to get crappy ones here and
Oh,
there. But I think when you have someone that actually picks up the phone from a TV or radio.
Because I think, here's what I used to think about, like, how many TV ads have I seen in my life? Okay, so I think about this. How much time in my life have I spent in front of the TV? Millions of commercials, probably. I don't know,
Yeah.
millions of minutes
Oh,
watching
yeah.
commercials. How many times have I ever picked up the phone and called the number on the screen? Not once, I can tell you. I've never called. So my thing is, and this is what I used to preach to my salespeople, if someone's that motivated where they see our ad on TV, pick up the phone and call us and say, we want to learn more about this, you better close the shit out of that, because
Right.
that person is almost like begging for you to help them. It's
Yeah.
like, please help me.
Absolutely.
So I just think about like that being a huge reason why like radio and TV, if you have that inbound activity, and again, it's not overnight. It takes a little bit of time. You got to prime the audience. They got to get to know you, got to get used to seeing you. And then all of a sudden it's like, you know what? I do want to check this out. Call the number on the screen.
And most of the time they'll be like, you'll be running only radio or only TV. And they'll be like, I saw you in the newspaper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're like, I'm not in the newspaper, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
People do not remember where they saw you or heard you.
Yeah, that's
Period.
awesome.
It's crazy. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
I could see that. So one thing you also talked about is like, let's just talk radio for a second, how talk radio is a really powerful avenue to start marketing. So why do you feel like talk radio specifically is more effective than maybe other avenues on the radio?
So talk radio, it is, I like to call it appointment-based listening. So people are going there for a reason, and they don't leave. You know, they turn on that station and they stay there. You know, where they get their news, where they hear their anything going on in the world or whatever it is. And they're truly listening to hear people talk. So music stations, they're tuning in and out. They want to hear their favorite songs, so they don't hear it. They want to switch to another station or a different format. What's crazy about, I've learned, and this is after working for one of the biggest talk stations in Kansas City, I mean, they're crazy listeners. I mean, they know everything about the on-air personalities in these guys. They follow them wherever they're going. It's almost like a cult.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So, and if they endorse something, believe them.
Yeah.
You know, so if Johnny's using this, they're going to go use what's using.
Yeah.
So what we have found is, especially home improvement, home improvements do amazing on news talks. And the time spent listening on that station, because they don't leave.
Yeah. So an example of that, if you have determined that, you know, I'm pretty conservative and it seems like my target market, I seem to have a better appeal for the audience. So I'm going to
News talk definitely leans conservative.
Yeah, I'm gonna advertise on conservative talk radio and have better return on my investment, the results, because the people that are listening to those conservative talk shows have such a high level of trust, and like you said, just like they're gonna do essentially what that person recommends more often than not, because maybe they gave them advice at one point on the conservative talk radio they felt was life-changing or bettered their life, so now they just feel they have a personal relationship with that.
Yeah.
So then when they recommend your home improvement company or they give you a spot on there, now you're kind of part of the family.
Right.
Right.
If a client comes to me and they only have budget for one station,
Yeah.
and I can get on a news talk station, I'm going to put my budget on that station.
Yeah.
Period. And then eventually, if they have, get more dollars, then I will move to a music format. But I will always start with a news talk first.
Okay. So Ad Fusion specifically, what are some of the other, so if people like started working with you, I guess, what does that onboarding process look like? How long does it take usually to get people set up? And then, you know, whether it's content creation, I guess, can you just walk us through the typical journey that a contractor would expect? Let's say I'm starting at ground zero. I know nothing about TV.
Okay.
and I want to reach out to maybe get started in this journey. How does that begin and then ultimately evolve into where we're running TV ads and we're rock and roll?
Okay. So you come to me and we have our initial conversation and you're looking to do marketing. So you've already we've determined your budget, whether it's budget for TV or radio. TV is going to take longer because the TV production takes longer.
Yeah, without getting too deep into the weeds, do you have like a recommendation as like, here's a good starting budget just to like dip your toe into this? Like if someone's coming to you, they have like $100 to spend, then it's probably not a good fit.
I would probably say, let's wait.
Like, what would you say is like, okay, at a minimum, this is our recommendation. Start here. That way you're not going to be wasting your time.
Okay, so for radio, I would say it's around 10 grand a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then for TV, you're going to need around, depending on the market, you're going to need around 20.
Okay. So let's just say if you can say part with that 30 per month and commit to it for, let's just say a longer term play, 3 or 6 months.
A minimum of 3 months.
Okay. And that's what I've seen. It seems like by month 3, 4, 5, that's when the clients I've seen that it really starts taking hold. And when it takes hold, it can be big.
Yes.
And then you get that return on your investment. But I just wanted to kind of.
And by the way, you can get those you're going to see calls come in those 3 months, exactly. And you're going to see that return. I mean, I hate to say, oh, that phone's not going to ring
at all. It's all or none.
It is, but I don't want people to get their hopes up. Yeah. I mean, I think I told you before, I had a client that he was making money in his first month. Yeah. But some that, will see trickles and aren't going to see, that didn't see like big returns until month 3 or 4.
Well, that kind of ties back into what you're talking about earlier. Is like, let's just be realistic and
Correct.
honest about the expectations, but understand like this is a long-term play. It's not like you can throw money at TV and in 1 month your life's going to change overnight. Right. You have to be patient with it, but then when it does hit, I mean, I've personally witnessed it hitting big.
Yes.
Where it did change their life.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it took their business to the next level.
And where you're getting your leads now? I mean, we're trying to better the business.
I know some people that just swear like, I only do Facebook. I'm like, only Facebook? Like, you seem like you're really handcuffing yourself. And I'm not sure like the lead quality on something like Facebook compared to TV, but I can just tell you after building sales teams, running all types of leads, TV, radio leads were always like the hot leads that everybody wanted to get their hands on. Because that something about that inbound lead where there's interest, there's excitement, there's something that triggered them to pick up the phone and call that number. And once you get into that home, I mean, if you have a sales process, the conversion on those leads was off the charts.
There's a reason why some of the biggest companies, all of the biggest companies, TV. I mean, come on.
Right. So of course, you start establishing a budget and everything.
Yeah. So we've determined whether you're doing radio or TV. Then I would then research the market to find which stations would be the best fit. We determine if you are doing an endorsement or if we're just going to do a straight radio spot, whether you wanted a jingle or not. All of those would be determined up front. If any of those things would be needed, while I was doing the negotiating of the radio stations or TV stations, you would be in touch with our creative person or a jingle person, and they would be working with you to create those spots and stuff. And then, meanwhile, I'm dealing with the TV reps and such, putting together those schedules. And I would come back to you and say, okay, here's the recommended schedules that we would go with. How do you feel about these? Blah, blah, blah. We would do that, create the spot, approve the spot, boom, get you on air. It's very turnkey.
So do you see companies that maybe start with radio and then once they start seeing some results there, then they move into TV or vice versa?
Yes.
So what is the most common? Do people usually start with the radio first, or do you see it's kind of all over the board?
Usually they start with radio first and then add TV. If they're big enough and they can have, they would do both. But typically it's starting radio first and then build in the TV.
So one thing I've seen being highly effective, and I know we talked about this before the podcast, this could be a benefit or it could not benefit you depending, but is the owner themselves being the spokesperson for their company, right?
Yes.
Because I have seen that pan out extremely well.
Yes.
I know there's a lot of homeowners that in a million years they would never put their face on TV because they got a good face for radio. So what's your advice? Let's say that the owner is comfortable, they're secure, and they feel like they have what it takes to start being that face. Are there benefits to the owner personally being the face, like on TV and actually showing themselves? I know it could be case by case, but
I think if the owner is charismatic and is up for that, and they are really good in front of a camera, and they want to be the face, like it's like that's their thing, then yes, it is beneficial. If they're not, and that is not their thing, then do not force it, because it's just awkward.
Yeah, definitely. It could backfire.
But I do believe it's important to have, if you're not going to do that, you have something consistent. So when you're starting your marketing campaign, you have the same voice that's carrying your spots through. So you have that continuity through all, your TV, your radio, so on and so forth. You don't want to continuously change that voice. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So obviously brand is a big topic. So if someone's trying to really create a memorable brand, like something that really stands out, do you have any advice, tips, or pointers that you can share as to like what's working nowadays? Like one thing I see a lot of companies reverting to is kind of a more minimalistic approach with their logos and their brand guidelines, more monotone color palettes, nothing too exotic or crazy. But if someone's trying to create a memorable brand, whether it be the way their logo and brand guidelines appear or how they are, their slogan or their jingle or their tagline, like what are some of the things that you think overall help create a memorable brand out there?
Simplistic.
Simplicity, yeah. So why do you feel like nowadays more of a simplistic, minimalistic approach is more appealing to people?
I think because there's so much thrown at us these days. We're constantly getting bombarded with content that how do you separate it? So if you have a completely overwhelmed logo.
Because I do see both ends of the spectrum, right? People that have this really exotic logo. It looks cool, but it's a lot. There's like colors in it.
Right.
It's like three-dimensional. It's super aggressive.
Right.
And then some that just have like a very two-dimensional, monotone, minimalistic logo. And I just see like the bigger brands are more simple.
Clean, yeah.
So, and I've seen a lot of companies spend buku dollars on a new logo and brand, and they went from something very complex to something very simple and basic, but it's working. That's the thing.
Exactly.
So I'm just curious on that.
And look at McDonald's.
So like, obviously my goal with Grosso University is to create a brand that's known throughout the home improvement industry. And there's a lot of people that are using the Spartan logo, the Spartan helmet, but we want people to basically, when they see our version of our Spartan helmet, which was created by one of my multimedia directors, he actually created our logo, which I'm really proud of that. But where they think Grosso University, every time they see, and not just ours.
Your logo, it's clean.
It's clean, it's very simple. And I'd be embarrassed to show you what our first logo looked like. I created our first logo, it was horrible. It was so embarrassing. It was like the typical university with the pillars and all this stuff.
But that should make you proud. Like, look how far you've come.
Yeah. So, but it does matter. It does make a difference. And then how important is it across all channels that people are consistent in their messaging? Because what I see is I'll be looking at their in-home presentation. I'll be looking at their website, looking at their social media. And it's like 3 or 4 different companies are speaking to completely different audiences, right? You don't have the consistency. And this is something that when we changed our logo, we had to really work on, because it's crazy how hard it is to delete logo off the website and to kind of filter through. But how important is that consistency in the branding and messaging across all channels?
Just like what I said about the voice. You don't want to have a female voice and then a male voice and then, another female voice. I think you have to be saying the same everywhere. So, just like your phone number needs to be said the same, everywhere.
For some reason, that girl, I forget what her name is, but the face of Toyota, right?
Oh, yeah.
So she's been there probably over a decade now. But every time I think Toyota, I see her face now.
Correct.
Right? And it's consistent across all channels.
Yes.
Even if it's just like a billboard or a banner of Toyota, her face is just there.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how that works.
I think it's the continuity.
And I can voice in my head.
That's good marketing.
Yeah, it is good.
The continuity is important. And you can't, one thing shouldn't say $2,500 off, another thing is going to say $3,000 off. That messaging, the too much mixed messaging. You've got to be consistent everywhere.
Right. So now, do you see with marketing agencies that, and again, it's hard, obviously you're not going to name any names, but do you see that a lot of marketing agencies kind of fall into these cookie cutter type campaigns versus what you would define as a truly customized solution? Because again, I'm not an expert on marketing, but my personal experience and the experience I've seen from a lot of home improvement companies is some of these marketing agencies, when they start working with them, it's just like, I can look at 20 companies this marketing agency is working with, and it's the same freaking ad. The same stock images, cookie cutter campaigns, and they'll like set it and forget it. They'll create an ad, and for like 6 months, they don't make any customization to it at all. Do you see that being a problem in the industry? And again, what are some of those things that AdFusion you try to do to give them that more customized solution?
I think a lot in the big time agencies, the big box agencies that have,
Let's name names. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not
have tons and tons of clients. It's easy to do, roll it over, yes, you can simply just rinse and repeat.
Right.
I think the more boutique agencies are able to put a little bit more time into them. I mean, that's why you don't have 1 million clients. You're able to focus on. But yes, I think there is a lot of that. Back when I was selling, I did a lot of national selling, and so I had a lot of that cookie cutter type of things. So it was literally negotiating just buy after buy after buy after buy, and it was a lot of the same. It was like you just the rinse and repeat, and so yes, absolutely.
But that's where someone like yourself can do a lot of damage, right? Because you can make sure that you're staying in front of that, and make sure that contractors or home improvement companies are not just getting thrown into this cookie cutter template. Like you're going to make sure that what's being done is truly unique. It's speaking to their audience, consistent messaging, the right message to the right people at the right time. And it's not always who you think it is, like you said. It could be the wife, could be the husband, could be someone completely different. But essentially it leads to the end target market, essentially where you want to be.
Yes, and it's a lot of fun to see such great results. Before when I was on that side, I didn't get the actual results of that client. See the fruits of the campaign.
Yeah. So I guess to kind of wrap this thing up, if I'm a contractor and I'm still on the fence, I'm like, I'm not sure if radio or TV or something that I really want to do. I guess what would be kind of a way you could summarize this whole thing? Be like, TV and radio or one of the two is definitely something you need to look into. And I would even say, like, if you really want to get the upper hand on the competition and ignite a fire into your marketing engine, is something really to get started, right? What would be kind of I don't want to call it an elevator pitch, but kind of a way that you can open up their eyes to the opportunity that may be right in front of them to get started on radio and TV and take the company to the next level?
I think a lot of it is you invest in your company every day. So this hurt. And a lot of times the investment is one sale, of your product. The beauty of what I'm doing is you're not paying me anything extra to do this. The cost is what you're investing in the actual product. And just like you're probably doing some sort of marketing right now. Give this a chance. What I've done on such and such, and it'll change your world.
Yeah,
it really will.
Exactly. So whether you're just getting started or maybe you already are in the trenches in TV and radio, and you're not sure if you have the right campaigns, or maybe you're paying too much for the ads.
Those are my favorite.
So you can come in that superhero and really roll up your sleeves and do a lot of damage negotiating those deals and getting those little added perks that people a lot of times don't ask for, but are right there in front of them, where they can really compound the results and take it to the next level. Yeah. So, and the reason why you're on this podcast is because, Grosso University, we've worked with a lot of marketing agencies, and we do feel that what you're bringing to the table is so important. And I just want to thank you for the partnership that we have, and obviously for what you're doing to help contractors run a more profitable business. That's really what it's all about. So if people want to schedule a meeting with you personally, or if they want to get the process started, what's the best way to reach out to AdFusion?
My email, which is ssd@adfusionfirm.com.
Okay. We'll put that at the bottom of the screen so everyone can reach out. So definitely reach out. And then you said it's pretty darn turnkey. We'll get into a very simple conversation, see what your goals are, where you want to be, and then we'll create a plan to move forward, whether it's getting started in radio, depending on your budget, radio and TV, combination of the two. And
we will find something that works for you.
Find something customized. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for traveling all the way to Madison, Wisconsin.
I love it.
I apologize, it's not the easiest place to go.
Hey, no, it's been great.
But yeah, we absolutely love it here. So another powerful episode of the Profits of Sanity podcast. Make sure you reach out to Add Fusion if you really want to ignite the performance of your marketing engine. And of course, if you are in TV and radio, make sure you get with Suzie ASAP so she can roll up her sleeves and diagnose, like, hey, are you getting taken to the cleaners, or are you actually negotiating a good deal for your company? It's obviously that alone. If you're overpaying for marketing, you're going to see an immediate ROI by talking with Suzie and having her decades-long experience. Literally, her whole life has been in this space. So take advantage of that wisdom. You got better things to focus on, like running a business, right?
That's right.
So again, make sure you put some of these strategies to work to you right away. I've seen personal results from our clients where once they start investing intelligently in TV and radio, their business takes off like a rocket ship, and so can yours. So again, hopefully you found this beneficial. Share with your friends. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Grosso University Profits for Sanity podcast. As always, in the world of business, volume is for vanity and profit is for
sanity.
Isn't it? Okay. So we appreciate your time, and we'll see you on the next one.